Okay, so with that, we are ready for our next run. Please welcome Shovelclaws for its Spark the Electric Jester 3 new game, version 1.2 all levels run. You donated for it. Here it is.
Let's go. Welcome everyone to Spark 3. Spark 3 is a really, really cool game. This is one of my favorite games of all time, probably the top one, and is also my favorite speedrun of all time. I love this game so much. Joining me today, very special guest, Spark himself is here. Little plush dude. I've been playing him like the bongos. I'm sorry, dude. You're fine. You'll live. Spark 3 is a high-speed action platformer where you play as this guy, Spark. And, there's a lot of speed tech in this game. It's gonna be pretty dense. You could just, like, turn your brain off and stop listening to me and just watch the game. It's cool enough. Yeah, we are going to be playing all levels in this game. The all levels route looks a bit weird, but, we are going to go through it all eventually. Don't worry about it too much. With that, we are going to start from a new game. This game has a new game plus feature. We're not using it today. There are a few reasons for that we can start talking about once we get into the run, but we're going to start on combat difficulty easy because it gives us a little bit of an advantage. Platforming difficulty normal, it just gives us the most control, and we will get started when I click the yes here on this menu. So, time begins in 3, 2, and 1. We are getting dashy today, chat.
Let's go.
So, every amazing platformer has an iconic first level, right? Mario has 1-1, Sonic Adventure 2, City Escape. Well, about that, we have a race car. Yeah. Spark kind of does what it wants, and I think this level's cool, but it's a way to open the game, considering Spark is literally faster than the race car if you know what you're doing with him. This is the only time you're gonna see this thing, so we'll go over quick mechanics of the race car, and then you can just throw it out your brain, because it doesn't really matter all that much for the run. We have a little nitrous boost. We can collect batteries to refill that nitro, but otherwise we'll try to remain at around 325 kilometers per hour. Otherwise, we can drift around turns to get a little extra speed boost. These enemies do nothing, they're just kind of there. We can kill them though, goodbye. Otherwise, this whole level is kind of self-explanatory. We gotta race to the finish, and once we get to the finish, you'll meet the man himself, Spark. Otherwise, let's talk some about Spark's moveset, because it is, on its surface, pretty simple, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. So, better to explain it now. Spark has a jump, and he can also double jump, so when you're in the air, do one little jump, that's all you get. Additionally, he has a dash that he can use. This dash can be charged, so you can charge it up just like this, and also you can use it once in the air. Otherwise, if you're grounded, there are no restrictions. You can mash it as much as you want. We won't be doing that. It's slow. Otherwise, his moveset, we'll get into some of the other stuff that appears, but that's all the basic stuff, is dashes, charge dashes, jumping, stuff like that. This first stage that we're going to after Alpine Carrera is in Terminal Village. Double Moon Villa here will be a stage with 2 goals. Of course, we'll want to beat it as fast as we can, kind of the point of a speedrun. But we're also looking out for these little bits. You can see the yellow little dodecahedrons in front of me. Those bits are very important because they act as a currency. You can see a little bit counter up in the top right there. That bit counter, we want it to be at around 900 before the end of this stage. Thankfully, we have some ways to collect bits pretty fast in this stage. We're gonna collect all of these big yellow bubbles. They will be called bubbles for the rest of the run, and they give us 30 bits per bubble. Additionally, they can be homing attacked, which, that's unfortunate. That's like the worst thing that you can miss there, is that trick. But, Spark has a homing attack, and his homing attack is very powerful in this game, because his homing attack allows us to do a whole variety of different what are called dashes. You saw one just there. we have a magnet dash. Magnet dashing is very straightforward. If you do a homing attack, you can cancel the little hop that he does with a air dash. I want up this clock tower, preferably. There we go. So you can get a lot of speed off of the magnet dash, and that will allow us to do quite a lot. Additionally, magnet dashes come in a few forms. The only one that you really need to know for now is an exhausted magnet dash. You saw how Spark went straight up? That's because we use all of our mid-air dashes. So before doing a magnet dash, in order to do an exhausted magnet dash, all you have to do is use all of your one air dash. So once you do that, you can kind of transfer your angle to your homing attack. And that allows us quite a lot of momentum. It allows us to go vertical as well. It's really convenient, especially for this stage where we don't have a lot to our name. Double Moon Villa is all about getting those bits. That way we can kind of power Spark up later on. And by later on, I mean literally the next stage. I mentioned that we have a few dashes to our name. You've had the Magnet Dash now, homing attack cancelled with an air dash. We have the exhausted Magnet Dash, homing attack cancelled by nothing, but also an air dash. And now we're going to get into the shop, where we're going to buy, first, the Energy Dash, and then two other upgrades that we'll talk about later, the Charge Shot and the Jester Swipe. The reason we buy these things immediately will become very apparent here in the Jester Dash tutorial. Jester Dash is just our homing attack, so I'm just going to call it the homing attack because it's easier. We have too many dashes already, we don't need another one on top of it. But the homing attack is very useful because it allows us to destroy enemies. Destroying enemies will give us energy, which allows us to do stuff like this. Straight into the goal. We go absolutely flying. I love that stage when it goes well. It went well, so thank God. Yeah, so what we do there is gather energy from the enemies along the way. Convenient that the game just puts them there. And then, once we have enough energy, we can use a bunch of different abilities. That's what that Energy Dash we bought earlier was an extra ability. That Energy Dash takes a 1 energy bar, so it's super cheap, and what it does is actually it gives us a huge little launch of speed, so it's a huge burst of speed. We can use that to do something called a Hyper Dash, which is what we did in that stage. Hyper Dashes are the bread and butter of this run, is what makes this game so cool. We literally just go flying everywhere. Also, that was another tutorial, slope jumping. If you jump on a slope, you go higher. What do you want from me, game? But we're doing the tutorials for a reason. You can see Double Moon Villa here unlocked a whole bunch of side stages. You also see that little lock on the next stage in the line. That's because we need a certain amount of stages cleared. Clearing stages gives us a something called a Freedom Medal. Freedom Medals are required for progressing, and we're going to be... okay, that went really well until I hit the wall. We're going to be clearing a bunch of stages throughout the game in order to progress through the game, because you need to progress through the game to do a speedrun. Really engaging commentary here, don't worry about it. Otherwise, this whole stage is really fast-paced when you do it well. I kind of did it well at the beginning and then bonked, which is whatever, it happens. But now is a great time to talk about the Jester Swipe and the Finger Gun that we have. Those are the two other abilities we bought. The Jester Swipe is just if there's a trail of bits, you can swipe across them and gain a lot of speed. And then the Finger Gun is just another way to destroy enemies. This time, though, it won't slow you down. If we do a homing attack on something, it actually tends to slow us down quite a lot. So we obviously don't want that. Oh, come on. So we use the Finger Gun a lot of the time to kind of supplement that. Here is an escape stage. Escape stages are a variant of stages that we'll see all throughout the run. Okay, where am I? I'm stuck under the track, it's fine. Escape stages are literally just get to the goal before the time runs out, which is like, cool, we're gonna do that anyways. We're speedrunners, so it's like, you know, fine. But it does introduce the concept of varying stages where you have a different goal than just get to the end goal. Granted, it's get to the end goal with an asterisk, so it's not that exciting. But it does change up here in a little bit. Here's another little tutorial. The Charge Jester Dash. As I said, we are doing these tutorials to get freedom medals, but it's also convenient. They're just really fast. Theoretically, we could skip all the tutorials, but like, they're fast enough that it's like, might as well do them, right? You're not gonna get many faster stages in comparison. But this is the Charge Jester Dash tutorial. Here, we're gonna just learn about the funny Charge Jester Dash that we can do. Cool, well, I've already explained this, so it's a great time to explain something else, something that will come in handy throughout the run. Typically, I wouldn't be able to make that jump, but we were able to do it because of something called a dash jump. If you use a grounded dash before you jump, you actually gain a lot more height in comparison. So, if we're trying to make a tight jump, what I'll often do is do a little dash and then jump immediately after, and that gives us the little bit of extra height that we need. That will be very useful throughout the rest of this run. This is AM Village. AM Village is a blue coin stage, as we call them, because we have to collect 10 little blue coins in order to beat the stage. Additionally, here we have another secondary goal. We want our bit counter to hit 700 bits. We're at 400 right now, so we should be fine, but we have a very specific route in order to collect more bits. However, this is another great time to explain something else that will come in handy in just a little bit. Now that we have uses for energy, I mentioned that killing enemies is a great way to get energy. However, we often don't want to kill enemies because, well, that takes a lot of time. So, there is another way to just get large bursts of energy. I'm gonna hit a hyper dash here to launch yourself up. Another energy method in this game is by collecting these things called energy bubbles. They're just like the yellow big bubbles that we've been collecting around, but instead they give us energy instead of bits, which is very useful. We love energy in this game, so a lot of the stages require very specific routes in order to make sure you have enough energy, and energy bubbles are a great way to route around that. We're at 700 bits now, so we're going to hop into the shop one more time to collect some more upgrades before we talk about another whole other topic. I'm sorry, the beginning of this game is just really a lot to explain. This game gets going fast. We have literally Devil May Cry, like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance level combat. And of course I missed the parry. So Spark has a heavy attack and a light attack. And he can use these to literally combo the hell out of enemies. It is so cool. So what we tend to do is do this little chain of heavy attacks. Light attacks. The button prompts are different. I'm using a PlayStation controller. I don't know why it doesn't register as well. But this whole combat area is Sawman. He is our first boss and our introduction to combat. So we have a heavy attack, light attack. We want to change up what we're doing pretty often because we have that combo meter in the top right, or top left, because combo gives us more damage. We want more damage, obviously. That just clears things faster, right? So we want to maintain that combo meter. Switching up our moves or dealing a lot of damage are both good ways to do that. Here, I'm going to change my combat difficulty to Challenge Jester. The only thing this really does is nerf us. It gives us less health, but there's a reason for it. We're going into the hardest level in the game. Well, one of them. Probably the second hardest now. But this is Lost Riviera. Lost Riviera is a gauntlet of constant hyper dashes, and we've already messed up one, so hopefully the rest goes well. We're gonna ride this little rail because this stage introduces a rail grinding. That's right. We're going Sonic Heroes in this stage. Rail grinding is going to be all throughout this stage. Rail grinding mechanics are honestly pretty straightforward. We can crouch on downhills in order to gain more speed, and we have two upgrades that we bought that give us a lot of speed and energy while on a rail. These two upgrades are regen braking and rail boosting. They're kind of two sides of the same coin. When we are going fast, what we can do is do a regen brake in order to gain more energy. And then rail boosting is the same thing, but in reverse. We can do a... we can hold down the dash button, and that gives us a lot of speed in exchange for energy. This little middle section is pretty challenging because there's a ton of obstacles. Thankfully, hyper dashers can avoid them. We just go flying over everything. And here, we're going to want to hop at the top of this rail until we fly over to this little bit bubble. We'll want to... Okay, well, that's unfortunate. We want to typically hit a hyper dash. We're going to back it up off that enemy, jump over the train, and then come over to this little side platform here. This side platform has another energy bubble. Okay, missing that isn't a big deal. We have one right behind us. There we go. Thankfully hit that one. It would have been bad if we didn't. But, come on over to this rail. We're coming up right on the end. Just one last hyper dash to skip this huge rail grinding section that we don't want to do. And then straight. No, I died right in front of the goal! Where am I? Okay, I'm all the way back here. No one saw that. That's actually really unlucky. That's happened to me once in a full game run. So I can't say that's never happened before. I can't say the funny line, but that's great. What we're going to do instead is just do the rail grinding, which is a really fun smile. That's really funny though. I can't be too mad. That was a really good Lost Riviera until that too, man. Oh well. But yeah, Lost Riviera here is a really challenging stage. It's pretty punishing. Thankfully, we didn't hit a checkpoint all that far away, but that was really funny. It's fine, don't worry about it. After Lost Riviera here, we have a little boss encounter. That boss, though, is the Guardian. The Guardian appears 3 times in this game. 2 of those times, the game doesn't expect you to win against him. You can, but you have to be really good at combat during the second stage, right? So it doesn't care if you lose to him. What's faster, dying or beating someone up in a fight? You take a guess. We literally just turn our health down and then die to him, and that saves like a good 30 seconds. It's a really funny strat that I always forget to do. I used to have a sticky note on my monitor to remind me to do it.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Out of Lost Riviera, we're gonna go into the wall jumping tutorial. You can jump off walls. Man, this game is really struggling for content already, man. But jokes aside, after this stage, we're going to do something that seems a little bit scammy, considering the category. We're gonna skip a level. Don't worry about it. I promise we're doing all the levels. The way this category's route works is a little bit weird. What we do is we just do an any percent run, and then after any percent, we go back to beat the levels that we didn't finish yet with better power-ups. I promise it's intentional. I promise it's faster. I'm not scamming you. In the meantime, though, this is wall walking. I'm gonna hope I hit this strat. I haven't practiced it today, so here's hoping. Okay, cool. First half. Wall walking is very straightforward. If you dash against a wall and then hold down the dash button, you can start wall walking, which is crazy that they call this wall walking. Okay, we hit the strat a lot until the very ending there, which is fine. Cheater detected. Don't call me a cheater, Chad. Come on. But yeah, that's wall walking. We just dash against a wall, we can walk on it. Cool.
It's all part of the plan. Intentional, valid cheating.
Yeah. Next up, we have the worst stage name in the game, Arid Hole. Also my nickname in high school. What's that? I need to turn off my stream and get off the... Okay, cool. Sorry, chat, I'm being kicked off for that joke. Anyway. This is
Oh,
another
wow.
one of our blue coin collecting stages. Thankfully, we don't have a specific bit route in this stage, so we just take a mildly fast, a mildly fast route to collect all of the coins. However, we do collect a few extra bits that just so happen to be there. So we can fit in a quick message here at the end of this stage if we have any.
Okay, is now an okay time?
Yeah.
All right, we have a $25 donation from Elsie. It reads, Gabby, you're an amazing person. Best of luck on the big move. Thank you so much for your donation.
It's true. We're all here for a good cause. Mutual aid is very cool in my opinion. I really love this community's efforts to come together and support someone like this. So this is epic. I'm happy to have been a part of it. Next up, after that nightmare of a stage, we think about Arid Hole once and then we forget about it. Next up, though, we have a good palate cleanser, Splash Grotto. That's a lot of water in it, so I hope the joke was clear. Anyways, this stage is probably one of the fastest in the game, but when it goes well. We're gonna hope it goes well. It's a rail grinding stage that's supposed to get you kind of accustomed to rail grinding mechanics. However, we can take big advantage of this by just going absolutely zoomy. You can see the speed build up here. We are cruising through the end. This ending here is really difficult if you're on Challenge Jester. Thankfully, we managed to swap our difficulty, which is like 3 button presses. I just forget it a lot. But a 33-second time, I'll take it. I'm happy with that. Pretty alright with that. Next up is a tutorial that teaches you how to handle high speeds. That would have been helpful a stage ago. Thanks, game. I really like this route because this immediately follows the literally fastest stage in the game. And it's like, yeah, man. Sure, Spark. Thank you. Alright. Otherwise, this stage is really straightforward. We're running to the end of the stage. One optimization we can do here is wall running on this little section here. So the path will split up into 2. You're expected to cross between it. Nope, I'm just gonna go in the middle. Another mechanic we can talk about here is something called the down dash. Down dashing is very useful for getting back on the ground. So we just hold down the left trigger and A. The left trigger unlocks a bunch of special moves, as they're called. I don't know why they call it that. It's not all that special. But yeah, the down dash is great for change the game to Spark the Electric Jester 2. That's really funny. But yeah, down dashing is great for going back on the ground because Spark's ground friction is less than his air acceleration, kind of like a race car. You want to minimize your air time as much as you can. Next up, we're coming up to District 5. Here we're going to change to Challenge Jester again for the exact same reasons as before. We have the Guardian at the end of this this little stage here. Oh wait, actually. Oh, nice. Okay, so enemies can randomly drop different little collectibles. And one of the more useful ones are the bubbles, because you can homing attack bubbles. So if you get lucky, you can kind of do a free magnet dash. Anyways, this is a great time to explain another piece of tech. That's right, it just doesn't stop coming. We have gravity clips. In this game, if Spark runs on a slope, oftentimes his gravity will shift to kind of allow him to walk on walls, just like this. However, the game, when you come to a stop, will shift your gravity back down. If you manage to do a jump against a roof as the game shifts your gravity, you can do what we just did there and clip through roofs. That strat in this stage skips like a minute. It is absolutely massive. This stage is a nightmare without it. And yeah, no, one day we found that, and it was very useful. Coming up is the hardest, one of the more difficult places in the game that only have 1 health, because you can kind of see the fire and the flames coming up. This stage turns from a prison in a forest into a burning prison in the forest, which is great. Or I guess a prison in a burning forest. Don't worry about it. There we do a little Jester Swipe. For some reason, that gives us a ton of speed. We have to avoid all of the flames there. That's way more stressful than it looks. But thankfully we managed to do it just fine. We have a pretty specific route that minimizes the threat. And then we have an auto-scroller here. We skipped 2 of these through this stage. This one is technically skippable, but the strat isn't really viable for RTA runs right now. Maybe one day it will be, but I personally don't go for it. It's a lot safer to just ride the auto-scroller. That was District 5. Protest Prison is a weird area in this game. I guess I haven't explained. This game splits its areas up, or its stages up into areas. You have main stages and then sub-stages on the side. Those sub-stages will unlock after doing the main stage. The main stages all have different themes around them. This one is Protest Prison. We've already been through Terminal Village, which was our first one, and then Drenian Desert, which was our desert theme just a few stages ago. But, Guardian challenge done. Protest Prison is very funny because all of its stages are named like, I realize now that my splits are all sorts of messed up. It's, hold up. There we go. Alright. Protest Prison is really funny because all of its stages are named District Number, which is really confusing for a beginner. I didn't change my difficulty back. Hopefully that doesn't bite me. Anyways, in this stage, we're going to do a Hyper Dash, and depending on the launch you get, your strat looks like a few different things. That is technically the fastest strat that we just got, where we get sent off the tree branch immediately after the first Hyper Dash onto another tree with a bubble on it that we just Hyper Dash off of straight to the goal. That stage is really cool. You kind of have to adapt on the fly to what kind of state or what kind of strat you're gonna do. And that's all we're gonna see of Protest Prison for at least 10-ish minutes, kind of ish. Protest Prison is really slow to full clear. Next up is Downtown Descent. I'm gonna go for a strat that is a bit hard here at the start. Okay, I deserve that one. Here, what we're doing is called a jumping Jester Swipe. If you jump and then Jester Swipe immediately after, what you can do, we're gonna restart one more time for this if we don't get it, oh well. If you jump and then Jester Swipe immediately after while holding A, you can actually, maintain the jump through the Jester Swipe. It's very useful for stuff like that, where we want the speed from the Jester Swipe, but not the stationary movement of a Jester Swipe. Can this guy get off me, please? Anyways, okay, I'm going through all sorts of magnet dashes, none of them are working. This is Downtown Descent. This stage has gone through a couple of routes, but, I was one of the first people to really route out this stage. It looks quite a bit different now, especially this beginning strat. What I do here is just take the side of the stage. We did fall down a little bit, but thankfully there are a bunch of bubbles here to kind of back it up. We're going to come up to it here, grab this energy bubble, and then we're aiming for this little part on the roof, jump on over here, and now we're back on what I do for this strat. I was the one who kind of first broke this stage open because I realized, wow, this stage really is just kind of doing it fast but casually in the speedrun. I want to change that because I'm a little freak. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to wrap this out, and now it's a lot easier in all honesty because other people are better at this game than me. But it's fine. Welcome to the ship part in Downtown Descent. This is another vehicle. We'll see him 2 other times, but this vehicle is very straightforward. We can dash, we can fire bullets. We want to collect some of these extra bits just on the way to our goal. At the end of this is a little mini-boss here. You can see him kind of shooting all these bullets. No thank you. I'm not feeling the mini-boss today, so we're just gonna go through that little gap inside. We're fine. Don't worry about it.
Can you remind me what the bits do again? I'm taking notes for the quiz after the run.
The bits are currency, so we want a certain amount of bits by a future stage, because they allow us to buy all sorts of cool power-ups. They're very useful.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. But next up is another one of our little ship stages here. We're gonna come into this little side corridor, and we're going to fly down, and if we wedge ourselves just right, just like that, we're out of bounds. I really like this strat. There are two little slopes that come together to form a little angle. If you hold the down button, because you can make your ship go down with the triggers, down or up with the triggers, while wedging yourself in between, you can just fly out of bounds. It's really pretty smooth. It's also one of the more unique strats in this game. There aren't a ton of just like strict out of bounds stuff, and none of them are with vehicles, which is neat. I really like that stage. Very straightforward as well. Protest City, which is this new area here, has a lot of very simple, straightforward stages, thankfully, and all of them are very fast, so we're actually going to do all 4 stages here. This is Squabble Spillway, probably the least interesting blue coin stage, but even in not interesting stages, we have Tech to Explain. That's how much this game just has in its complexity. It's a really hard game to learn, in all honesty. But if you down dash twice, you actually go down way faster. So in this stage, what we do is down dash all the way down while collecting the coins along the stage, and that allows us to just get down a little bit faster, doing 2 down dashes instead of the 3 or instead of just the 1. That would send us just a tiny bit slower. But next up is Residential Rattle. This stage is really funny. What the stage wants you to do is go around this huge square circuit up multiple floors. Instead, what we're going to do is come off to the side here, hop on over to this blue energy bubble, and then hit a hyper dash off the yellow bubble there, and then go through a very specific angle straight to the goal. If we're wider and go through the main entrance of that little building there, what actually happens is we get locked into a mandatory fight sequence. Mandatory fight sequences in this game act as little square boxes that once you step in, after a few seconds, a bunch of enemies will appear and trap you in that box. Skipping them is literally just not entering that square, or entering the square and going out of it fast enough where the little delay that it has built into it actually just doesn't trap you in time. It's really funny. Okay, I face-palmed. Don't worry about it. Or face-planted. Here in Roadway Rally, this is a vehicle stage that we're not going to take the vehicle in. Like I said, Spark literally just runs faster than the car in this game, and it's really funny. Additionally, if we take the car, we can't do this strat. Right now, we're running on a out-of-bounds wall. That's right, you can just run up them. Try this in your favorite game. I promise it works. Then we're going to launch ourselves off the side, do a little charge to the building with the blue corners, and then do another charge straight off that building. Right across from this building, guess what, chat? That's right, we have the stage's goal here. We're gonna die, but hit it anyways. Don't worry about it, that technique will come in handy later. But we finished the stage because we hit the goal. No matter that we died, not a biggie at all. But that stage is also really cool because you just run up the wall. That is like, don't go beyond this point. And we're like, we're gonna go there anyways, you can't stop us. It's really fun. Next up, we have a pretty unique boss. This little ship, this fighting segment here. The ship has a few missiles that once the energy bar in the top left is completely filled up, we can actually shoot it off and build up a bunch of damage with our missiles. They will automatically destroy the little yellow weak spots here, and oh wait, we're in Spark right now. I think the games might be freaking out. We are currently actually Float. Float is a new side character. That's right, the game just randomly introduces you to Float during a boss fight. Thank you. So, Float here is a pretty unique character. She has a whole different set of combat moves. So great, we're gonna use her never because she's worse than Spark. Sorry, but she has a few weird differences. Mainly that she can float if you hold the A button. Who would have guessed? And a few differences that we'll talk about later on when they become actually relevant. For now, we're gonna hop into the shop once again and buy her, because she costs 1 bit. It's like, here, have this penny. Cool, I get a whole person. Wild. But we're gonna head into our next stage, Nighttime Phenomena here. Nighttime Phenomena is really, really cool. Hysteria, which is our 5th area in this game, is kind of this weird breakneck space conservatory museum type thing. We're gonna restart for this strat. So what we do here is do a few magnet dashes, and okay, we're gonna back up here. We're too low. We're gonna restart that one more time. We come up to the little top here, do a jumping Jester swipe, and fail it a 3rd time. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We're gonna try that one more time. There we go. We're gonna jump off to the side here instead of going through the stage normally. Swap over to float. We're gonna hop on this little wall. You can see a checkpoint right there. That's what that little orange circle is. But separating us from that checkpoint is a death plane. What we're going to do is charge up a Jester Dash, and our dead body will hit the checkpoint, activating the checkpoint, which then respawns us at the checkpoint. That's right. We can just die and hit checkpoints and it'll still work. That strat is so cool. It's one of the most unique things in this game. It makes this stage that much more special, which is wild because this stage is one of my favorites. First of all, banger music. Shout out to Tud. Best song in one of the best songs in the game. Has the other best song in the game as well. But this whole portion, this whole stage is just really trippy. It has a lot of really cool visual effects like these black tunnels here. And that little skips one of these interior sections here where we have to defeat this little wall of enemies before we can go through. So skipping one of them is pretty massive, saves us a lot of time. And that skip just makes this stage all that much more cool, despite being literally like the coolest stage in the game. Next, we're gonna just come through this little area here, do a few hyper dashes, hop on over, skip that little loop, because loops are slow, and then rail grind to the end of the stage. This ending section has a really cool trick here where we Jester swipe and then hit an energy dash, and for some reason, it restores us to full speed. Another little tidbit, I'm gonna flex my fun fact knowledge about this game. That ending section is actually just a copy-paste of the beginning section, but in daytime. It's really cool. But yeah, that stage is so sick. A 150 is also a really, really good time, I can't lie. Next up is Dropship Daybreak, probably the best of the blue coin stages that we have in this game, because we're gonna come around this side, collect this first coin, grab this coin, and then do the same thing where we're gonna restart the checkpoint, which sets us to our original spawn position, but collect the blue coin while we're fading to black and getting moved, which is really funny. It saves just like a few seconds compared to climbing back up, but it's really useful. And now we have the dropship section of this stage. This stage is laid out into 2 parts, this little dropship and then the outside portion. So this dropship has a few coins on it, but more importantly, you may notice once we... Oh, I killed the other enemy, cool. We typically go for a hyper dash there, don't worry about it. Once we come back out, that's right, it's daytime, baby. Dropship Daybreak, it's in the name. This stage is quite unique. It's also a bit of a troll. They just spawn an enemy that hurts you when you touch it right on top of that coin. It's really funny. It's also very annoying. But Dropship Daybreak, really cool. If you die after going to the dropship, you'll respawn and all of a sudden it's day, which threw me off during my first play through of this game. It's really funny. This next stage is really difficult. I'm gonna need some focus time. This stage is kind of like a Mario Kart level, where you have 2 laps. This first lap is very basic, where we go through this little beginning section here. No, okay, we're gonna restart. That's just such a bad mistake. This first lap is building up a lot of speed and energy for the second lap, which is where things get wild. In the meantime, if you want, you can go ahead and read some messages. I'm just gonna focus up for the latter, for the rest of this stage.
Absolutely, I've got you. I would like to remind everyone of our current open incentives. We have the Saw Bid War incentive open, which is the freedom ending versus the truth ending. So this means when donating, please use either the word freedom or truth in your donation message to choose which ending you would like to see. Your donations will also go towards our bonus any % no major glitches, some minor glitches Metroid Dread run, which will happen at the end of the day if we reach a grand total of $2,500. So a reminder, all your donations for this event are directly supporting Gabby's move to Boston so she can move and live safely without worrying about major financial loss. Type !donate in chat to learn more.
Thank you. Alright. Okay, this stage is absolutely rolling me. Whatever, it's fine. I have a really bad track record with this stage. It's very inconsistent for me, so I'm not all that surprised. Anyways, we're coming up on the end here. You can see during the second lap, it gets taken over by lava. And I guess since we're already slow, might as well stop for it. If we look up at the moon, you can see, that's right, it has a face. Why does it have a face? I'm scared. But that's Heaven Park. That stage is frankly really difficult. Not all that bad that we kind of mess it up. Oh well, is what it is, we ball. Thankfully though, that's all we have to do in Hysteria here. We're not going to do Endless Hall until we come back for the rest of the stages. We need more freedom battles. Oh no, this totally isn't intended in the route. What we're gonna do is head into the shop here. We're gonna buy a few extra things. You can see we have quite a lot of bits. So the things that we're going to buy, thankfully I remembered to buy the correct thing, are the spin charge and the extra power overcharge. And then we have the extra cash, so we're gonna also buy a multi-shot blast, which will come in handy in a few levels here. In the meantime, we're gonna go through Canyon Zero. We have a whole binge of combat stages here that we're going to go through. The reason we do this is because earlier in the game, when these combat stages unlock, we're not powerful enough to do them in all that fast. So what we do here is very straightforward. There we go. So we have in this stage, it's the only stage like this in the entire game. There's a story behind it, but this stage is a raid stage where we have to get our score to a certain amount. You can see our score goal is 40,000, and boom. Just like that, we're done. The reason that is the only stage like that, the kind of score attack stages, is because during playtesting for this game, people said they didn't like it, which I think all of those people have something wrong with them. I don't know what it is, because raid stages are the coolest concept in this game. I love them. But it's fine. I'm not coping. Anyways, raid stages are that raid stage is a lot of fun, honestly. I really enjoy it. Next up here is a combat stage. This is just a wave fight. This is Beat Down Tower. What we're going to do here is build up enough energy and use a bunch of spin charges. This spin charge attack is a very big area of effect, so we use this to just deal a bunch of damage. Additionally, we have a new upgrade, the Multi-Shot Blast. Multi-Shot Blast is super helpful. It's just a little fire of barrage of bullets that we can use to take out a single enemy when our combo meter is high enough. It does cost one bit of energy, but it's fine. It doesn't cost all that much, and it deals quite a lot of You can see we just took out that guy from full health very easily. Otherwise, we can go over some more combat mechanics, because we have another combat stage in the form of District 4. It's another wave fight, except everything's on fire this time. Alright. So, combat, as I said, is a lot of switching up your moves. You want to vary it up. If you do the same combo over and over again, your combo meter will begin to fall. However, one way we can kind of circumnavigate that is by doing this little air attack in the air. So if we do the light attack combo string in mid-air, it actually deals like a lot of damage. You can see there, that guy just got obliterated. One way that we can deal more damage out of by doing this combo is by dashing in the air to dash cancel our animation, and then doing it again. So the strat really just becomes like launch an enemy up into the air and then do 2 light attacks. Of course, we do vary it up still. Sometimes it's just better to, for example, here we would probably use a spin charge and then 4 spin charges on the ground here with all of the enemies that spawn in. Forgot there were enemies on the side there. Thankfully, overcharge is really helpful during these combat stages, and this is kind of where patch differences come in. You may notice in the category, it's all stages, new game, the version 1.2. There are 2 patches that are currently viable for runs, 1.1 and 1.2. The differences come down to a few abilities. In this patch, the ability overcharge, the combat buff that we've been using, actually is buffed largely, which is great for us because it deals a lot more damage, lasts a lot longer, and allows us to do combat a lot faster when you do it well. Also, this is throwback. This stage is very funny, in all honesty, because you can see on the little enemy gauge, or health bar down there, that Fark question mark? Spark doesn't know any of these people because these are all bosses from the second game. Spark the Electric Jester 2 doesn't have Spark in it. I'm not kidding. He never shows up. It's really funny. So, he knows none of these bosses, which is just very, very funny to me. All of them are just question mark. Who are you? But yeah, this stage is also very difficult. Thankfully, Overcharge makes very quick work of that last boss. Otherwise, he's kind of a nightmare. Which is great. One more combat ability to talk about, and another reason we pick up Float. I know this is a lot, don't worry, it calms down after this. Float has a face mark ability. That face mark actually allows you to deal extra damage. Basically, if you attack an enemy 20 times, you can hit a little explosion that hurts enemies. And it's very useful for combat stages like that. Additionally, Float here is very useful for this skip. We're running up another invisible wall, that's right. Except I guess it is technically visible, there are just a lot of X's. Don't worry about it. This stage is Airstrip Madness. Typically, you'd go through an airport, but we're sneaking in the back way. FBI agent watching this is a video game. Don't put me on the no-flight list, please. I didn't do anything. Put Spark on the no-flight list. This little guy deserves it. But yeah, no, we're just gonna run out of bounds to the airplane. That's right, we go on an airplane in this stage, therefore it is cool. Here in the airplane, we're gonna do a gravity clip, except these gravity clips are a lot more annoying. That's right, we're in a big tube. So what we need to do here is run up the tube, pull back on our stick, and immediately jump. And it's a nightmare. Thankfully, we got it pretty fast there. And that's actually a really good time for Airstrip Madness. I cannot lie. That stage really frustrates me. So I'm glad we got it first try. That's fine.
You did it. It's over.
Thank
Onward.
God. You're already on the no-fly list for being a gamer. So true. Real fast, we're gonna stop into the shop for one more time. to pick up another ability. That's right. This game has a lot of strats that are ability dependent. So what we're going to do here is pick up the Cloud Shot. The Cloud Shot kind of deactivates gravity or activates it in a different way. It reduces it and gives us a little hop up when we use it. It also only costs 1 energy bar. So in this stage, 2-stage liftoff, what the game wants us to do is, again, just go to the top of the stage. But what we're going to do instead is this. Okay, we're not far enough. It's fine. We have a backup. If we go fast enough and have enough energy there, what we can actually do is go straight up. Okay, we're gonna restart from the checkpoint there. Hopefully that guy didn't respawn. Cool, he didn't. So, what we're going to do instead is a Cloud Shot right up to the goal. That's fine. I'm okay with that. The real strat there is after that little ramp, you do a bunch of Cloud Shots. It's really difficult, so it's like, yeah, of course I'm not gonna hit it. It's really inconsistent. But it's fine. We went for it. We didn't, we have good backups as well, so it's like, oh well, shmishma. We move on. To probably another very difficult stage. The entire area of Stratoria Interstellar here is a nightmare for runs because it has 2 really difficult strats that if you miss, you're losing like 15 to 30 seconds. If you're on a good pace, great, you're gaming. Except not until Stratoria Interstellar. Never get attached to a run until the end of the run. Anyways, we just one-tried that. That's awesome. Stratoria Interstellar there, or Suborbital Scramble there has reduced gravity. So what we do is a hyper dash all the way up to the ending of the stage. That's right. We just fly through the air, or I guess lack of air. It is space after all. It's great. I don't hate that stage at all. Anyways, onto a stage I actually enjoy. This is Mayday Midday. That ship we got on is now crash landing. Honestly, kind of deserved Spark. He just ran onto a ship with no boarding pass. Anyways, what we're gonna do here is another one of those tube clips, except this time we're just gonna go straight to the goal. Alright. There's a safer strat there that's a bit slower where you just go through 2 tubes and do 2 clips. We're not doing that. We just need the one. Float, thankfully, makes that strat really safe because you can just float on down to the goal. And we're gonna skip another stage here, Aviator Highway, as we've already unlocked our next boss, Mecha Madness. Hopefully we have a few anime fans in chat, because if we don't, this gets real awkward. Yeah, this game turns into a mecha for no reason. Like I said at the beginning of this game, Spark kind of just does what it wants. It's great. In the stage, we just do this little jump combo here. It's a heavy attack followed by a light attack. For the Greater Guardian's first phase, this actually just kind of stun locks him so he can't attack. Unfortunately, midway through, he kind of gets super armor and no longer gets stun locked. But even though he's attacking, we can kind of just do it anyways, and it deals a lot of damage. And bye, dude. He explodes, glides on the ground. I don't know. He's gone. Don't worry about him too much. Mecha Madness is the boss, alright. For a long time, we didn't have that strat, and they made that boss really annoying.
Let me know when another good time to jump in would be.
You can do it before this next stage. That'd be fine.
So right now?
Yeah.
Perfect. We have a $5 donation from Scribble. No comment, but thank you so much for supporting Gabby. I'd just like to remind everyone that this event could not have been made possible without the help of all the volunteers, runners, and most importantly, you, the viewers and donors. We appreciate any and all support that you can give Gabby in her time of need so that she can move to Boston and live safely without worrying about a major financial loss. Thank you all.
Yeah, good cause once again. Thank you all for the donations. Keep them coming. They're great. By the way, that was a tutorial stage. We have 2 stages left. Technically 8. We have 2 more stages left until we beat the game, though. Yep, this game teaches you about fall damage before this next stage. There's a reason for that. Fall damage is very straightforward. If you fall for too long, you die. you fall for too long and hit the ground, you take a little bit of damage, but don't necessarily die. You can cancel fall damage by jumping, dashing in the air, doing a charge dash in the air, a whole bunch of stuff. The reason the game teaches you before this stage is very apparent when we start playing it. Unfortunately, I missed the strat, so we're gonna restart for it. So, what we do here is gather energy off that little blue bubble there. Blue bubbles give us quite a lot of energy, which is why we want to hit a hyper dash off you, expend that little bit of energy before we start falling. If I look down, you can see the void. That's right, we have a long ways to go. This stage is called Deep Descent for a reason. If you haven't noticed, we have quite a long fall. Think of this stage kind of like a tower, except we're starting at the top floor and want to get to the last, which is quite a lot of fun. This strat here is actually a 1.2 exclusive. Technically, you can do it on 1.1, but it's not worth it because in 1.1 we actually buy an ability called the Hyper Surge, which allows us to do something called a Infinite Fall or a Hyper Surge Fall, depending on who you ask. I call it the Infinite Fall because that makes it a lot more apparent what we do in this stage in 1.1. Don't worry about it too much. All you need to know is that this version doesn't have that. It's patched out. So, this stage and the next stage become something completely different. We in this stage just abuse inclines that stop our fall. We abuse power-ups that we have, such as Cloud Shot, all the way down until we fall there. Cool. We have one more fall to go before we are done with this stage. It's not this one. You see that that abyss down there, the little hole? That's where the goal is, and we have one shot at this. If we don't hit it, we're gonna have to back it up, which is going to be kind of awkward, so hopefully we hit it. This, right now, what we're aiming for is an invisible ceiling, and we should fall here pretty shortly onto it. There we go. Then we immediately turn around. We have 2 bars of energy to our name. If you look below us, we have a few little rails. We use float for this section just for some extra safety. And we died. Damn it. Okay, that's fine. What we can actually do to back this up is not all that bad. We have to run through this little portion of the stage. And what we can do is gather energy on some rails. And then we'll just restart from checkpoint, do it all over again. Oh no, I died. Uh-oh. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, so the backup strat here, we're gonna hopefully hit it this time and not fail a jump on the way there. The backup strat here is honestly nice to have because this stage is really difficult with this strat. You can mess it up in the tiniest way by being just a fraction of a second off. I was literally hitting the button to stop my fall. As I died, it happens. So, hopefully we have a nice backup strat there. Takes a few seconds. It's unfortunately going to probably kill the chance at a PB here. I don't know how far ahead I am though, so maybe it was already dead. But yeah, no, this stage is really challenging, especially in 1.2. In 1.1, the Infinite Fall actually isn't all that bad. Oh, okay. That's a bit awkward. We're gonna actually aim for one of the buildings here instead to kind of stop our fall earlier. Okay, focus up. Oh, this building doesn't have collision. Oh, yes it does. Okay, cool. Alright, we should be good. We should be able to just come onto these rails now. You can see this stage kind of panic-inducing with the strats that we use in this version, but it is actually faster to hit the strat first try than it is to do the Infinite Fall, which is crazy. The story of how this game progressed is like absolutely wild. One dude made all of this made this patch so much faster than what we thought was optimal. Out of like pure spite, he just didn't want to play the new patch, I think, or the old patch. Big shoutouts to Squish Squash, current world record holder. The greatest of all time at this game. He has put in a lot of work to make this this version faster, and it's shown through in the ways that he has broken this stage and the next stage. The next stage is going to be quite a long one. You may notice I think we have like 30 minutes left on our estimate. We might have a little bit more, but yeah, no, that's intentional. I wasn't like super generous. This stage is gonna take about 10 minutes.
What, really?
Yeah.
That's surprising. Especially compared to the rest of them, which you were done in like 20
I know.
seconds.
The last stage was like 4 minutes long. Casually, it's like 12 to 7. In a speedrun, it's 4 minutes. This stage is Utopia Shelter. Before we enter it, we have to actually defeat the Guardian, now with a proper name, Flint. This guy is honestly pretty annoying. I don't like this fight at all. But it's over fast enough, especially with overcharge and stuff. We're getting absolutely bodied. It's fine. But Utopia Shelter is the biggest stage I've ever seen, frankly. I just gotta be real. And, it's, like, the coolest stage ever made. In this patch, we are going to go through it all. You're gonna see all of it. Which half I'm kind of bummed out by, because this stage is really cool when you play through it the first time. Go play this game, by the way. It's really good. But the other half of me is kind of happy because it means that you get to see all the amazing strats that have been developed for this stage. Squish went through this stage and absolutely demolished it. For a long time, it was thought that Infinite Fall would be kind of this game's holy grail. Once we find it, there is nothing that would be faster in any of these stages. Like, no trick would save as much time as the Infinite Fall. That's right. This strat is much faster. This stage with the proper strats, the proper execution, is like a minute faster than the Infinite Fall will ever be. It's crazy. And it's all because one dude was just like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm gonna play on this version. Thanks, guys. It's wild. The first little bit of this stage, about the first half, is in the city here. This city has a banger of a soundtrack, as almost all of this game does. What we're going to do is do a new version of a dash there. That is called a cloud dash. That's right, it's a dash with a cloud shot instead of a... Okay, that's awkward, that's fine. We recovered onto the rails. It's a dash with a cloud shot instead of a energy dash, which is great. Gives us just a little bit of extra height to kind of clear that bridge there. And then we have this big old rail grinding section. We want to be at full energy here. Energy management in this stage in particular is really, really challenging. So we want to hit all of these enemies. Sure, we're gonna run on top of this this stage. I've never really done that before, but you know, it's fine. Do a few magnet dashes off of a few enemies here. Want to avoid all of the nightmare chaos that is happening. It's fine. We're gonna back up, slow down a little bit for the magnet dash off that dude to get onto this rail section. Hop on up, do an energy dash there, just get us back up to speed. We're gonna do a big jump at the top of this loop to this little roadway. We want to avoid this booster because it'll reset our speed. And no, we hit the lamp! Spark is a moth the way that he is attracted to lamps in this game. I'm not kidding. It is the most annoying thing in the game, speedrun wise. We have literally a meme that Lake Fepard hates us so much that he just puts a bunch of lamps and lampposts and little signs all to just mess with us. It's awful. They've killed a lot of runs, unsurprisingly. But it's fine. We recovered fine there. That little roadway is our last bit in the city. We're gonna hit the roof because I jumped way too early. That's fine. Now we are into the second section of this stage, the depths. The depths is comprised of two areas. One is, of course, reality. Well, quotation marks. You'll understand that joke when you play the game. Next is this little roadway here, and you may notice where we go. Actually, I don't see all that much to go. Yep, the game. Oh, well, I was going to say the game wants us to run off that little road, and I guess technically I would be right, but sure. Welcome to White Space. This is the other section of this game. White Space.
That's the formal name, or is that the name that speedrunners use?
That's what I call it. I don't know what it's actually called.
Looks great. White space it is.
It's convenient because it is a white space. Therefore, that's the name. White space is going to be a big part of this this stage from here on out. Every now and then we'll be transported to it, and it'll kind of test a single ability, such as wall climbing or wall running, something like that. We did a hyper dash to avoid a tower there. That just avoids a mandatory fight sequence. As I said, if you don't enter into that little box of mandatory fighting, you don't have to do it, which is great. So we just launch ourselves around the tower there. We're going to be transported into white space here for the climbing challenge here. Game wants you to just climb on up without getting too owned. Also, shout out to the track in this part of the stage. The Depths is a 10-minute song, and it's all very, very cool. And also has a 16-bit remix. There are 2 10-minute tracks on this game's soundtrack. It's awesome. After that little white space there, we're going to collect the checkpoint for safety. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't. But we're going to fall all the way down to this little branch here, immediately turn around, and we're put into white space once more. We do that to avoid a huge little winding road, avoids some more fighting, stuff like that. Thankfully, the trigger for white space activates even if you're walking into it from the wrong section, which is great. Very convenient for us. After this little white space section, we're going to launch ourselves off the side over to the slope here. You may remember slopes stop our fall damage, so we're going to land on that slope, carry speed down it, and all the way around into our last white space section. We have the perfect amount of energy for this as well, which is great. In practice, I had not enough, and I had to do a little bit of a weird platforming section. Thankfully, we can afford the extra energy dash here. So what we're going to do is swap the float, jump and use a cloud shot, turn ourselves to the right here, and there we go. Here in this section, we have a bunch of rail grinding. This rail grinding you even do in 1.1. In this stage, you actually infinitely fall out of bounds at the very start. You have to do it all without checkpoints. It's all very dangerous. I've lost quite a lot of runs to doing it poorly. But you have to do this in both 1.1 and 1.2. It is absolutely heart-wrenching to do. It is so scary because you're going this fast the whole time. Additionally, we did a energy dash at the start of this section to kind of maintain our speed here. And we jump off the rail into this huge straightaway. We're going to do 2 little dashes. We have one more piece of tech to talk about. That's right. We're not done with all the complicated explanations of speedrun tech. We have one more. That is only applicable in this stage and Airstrip Madness. We call these wall dashes. We run on the wall, and we do a down dash off of them. So, right trigger to run on the wall, hold left trigger and press A. That lets us jump off the wall at the same time as doing a down dash, which increases our speed exponentially. Also, I know this tunnel looks weird. I'm not moving around all that much. I'm holding it my analog stick straight. The tunnel is turning on its own. That's intentional. My PC is not exploding, hopefully. So don't worry about it too much. You'll have to play this game to figure out why the stage gets all weird and why we're in white space and all of a sudden we're back in reality, stuff like that. This tunnel we run down the side of. We turn to the checkpoint, and we have one more mandatory fight sequence to skip that little last block there. We're just gonna hop off the side. That's right. When we go off the side here, we're aiming for these little rings. These rings are special. They turn us invisible. Just kidding, they stop our fall. That's all they do. But when we fall enough, we're back into white space, transported once more between the verge of reality and white space. Here in this big old void, we're looking for all of these little blocks here, and that designates this stage's ending. And just a little hole, slam dunk it. Okay, never mind. We rimmed it, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Boom. That is Utopia Filter done. That stage is so cool. It's my favorite stage in any game of all time. It's so sick.
Yeah, I can see why. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's great. I want to do something funny here. We're gonna watch a little bit of a cutscene. You can read a quick message here while we're waiting. We have about 20 seconds. Don't read any of this. Don't worry about it.
I'd like to take this opportunity again to thank everyone out there for supporting Gabby and this event. You know, seeing all of these wonderful people come together just goes to show how much good there is out in the world, and we appreciate each and every one of you. So make sure to type !schedule in chat to see what other runs you can look forward to this afternoon and tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Very much appreciated. I'm 49 seconds ahead of my All Stages PB that I got yesterday, which is really funny. Okay, so we're... to wrap up the story here, at the start of the game, Sparks goes to fight this guy, Fark. I just wanted to showcase him in a suit, because it looks very weird and funny. Long story short, Spark tries to defeat the Fark force, and that's what our whole journey has been, because he wants the internet to be back. I'm not kidding, that's it. This game's storyline is very hard to explain to someone who hasn't played it, so I'm going to recommend that if you want to understand this game's story, it's going to take a bit. I still don't fully understand it, I think. Don't play the games, though. It's funny, it's cute. It has a very goofy storyline. Anyways, speaking of Fark, this is the line work fight. The line work fight here is 3 little bosses. We have a big old boss rush at the end of any percent like this. So we have the line work beast in our first phase, line work reaper here who we just defeated, and now we have Spark. The cool thing about Spark is that he has completely different moves. So we are using right now static mode, which deals a lot more damage. Unfortunately, Spark decided to hit us with the worst attack in the game. I hate that thing. But he has a whole different combo set. It's pretty cool. He is a new playable character after you beat the game, which will come in handy when you go back to do all of those stages that we haven't done yet. Linework fight over with. We have one more boss, the final boss of this game. We have a few more cutscenes to skip. Unfortunately, we can't watch this one because it'd spoil literally the entire story, but it does have something funny in it. Unfortunately, we're gonna skip past it. That's right. Aliens is our final boss. This is Claritas Centralis. This boss fight is fun. This boss actually has a strat that was discovered a little bit ago, where you juggle Claritas in the air and then just do a bunch of air shots, and it's pretty fast. Alright. And that would be time if we were doing an any percent run. However, we have a few more stages left over to go through. So, after watching the credits here, we will go back to complete a few stages. We're gonna skip this Friday Night Funkin' jump scare. I'm not kidding. This game's credits are a Friday Night Funkin' animation. There's also a Friday Night Funkin' game that released alongside this. It's very weird and confusing. Spark does what it wants. It's fine. Also, Chad moved to say almost the entire game, like Pepper. Shout out to Lake Pepper. He did a great job with this game. We all love it very much here in the speedrunning community. This game's speedrunning community is small but very dedicated, so I want to give a big shout out to all of them as we enter into our last little part of the run here. After beating the game, we unlock 2 new Jester powers. Jester powers are extra characters. We can buy them with quite a lot of bits. Unfortunately, we can't afford Sparks here. Sparks is a combination of Fark and Spark, but we can afford Fark. Unfortunately, in version 1.2, Spark is a lot less powerful. So, he's really only useful for a couple of things. One stage that we'll do as our last stage, because it's very long. And, his double air dash that he has. Spark only has one air dash, but Fark has two, which makes him pretty versatile for the most part. Okay, cool. Great. Just fell into the water. Great. We're gonna restart the stage there. We need the energy from the beginning here. But yeah, Fark is pretty useful. Unfortunately, not as useful in this update as he was in 1.2 because a glitch with him got patched out. That we'll talk about in a little bit. Fortunately, though, we have decent replacements in all of our stages. This here in Lost Ravine, what we're going to do is a clip out of bounds, and then run on this little out of bounds wall here, and then we can come all the way up here, aim ourselves up here, do a little energy dash at the top, jump on up, do a charge dash, 1, 2, swap over to float, and float into the goal. That skips that stage quite fast, actually. The reason that stage isn't done in any percent is actually because it's really annoying. None of us want to do it. Technically, it'd be faster than a few stages, and we could feasibly swap it in. We just don't want to, because it's really annoying. Next up here is District 9. The reason this stage isn't swapped in will become apparent in about 30 seconds. In the meantime, though, we're gonna... Ooh, okay. We accidentally hit that tree branch, not a biggie. We're gonna come over to this side here. This stage is actually really cool when you're doing it casually, because you have a lot of freedom here. It's also a really cool score attack stage. Unfortunately, I don't do score attacks. But what we're going to do here is skip an auto-scroller. Never mind, because we died. Please don't put me back at the start of the stage. Okay, we're gonna take it just for some safety. I don't trust myself to not take it. You can see why we don't do this stage. This auto-scroller is really annoying. In version 1.1, there is a way to skip this and be a lot faster. Unfortunately, though, it's not faster to skip this auto-scroller. Hell, it's not faster to skip either of the auto-scrollers. That's right, there's another one. It's great. We love this stage. Smile. And by that, I meant, no we don't. But thankfully, it's not all that bad. It's not all that long either. Also, fun little thing with Bart here. Bart can actually has an invulnerable dash, which allows us to go through certain obstacles, such as enemies and lasers. And it's great. Here, off this enemy, we're going to do a hyper dash, swap over to Fark, and hit the auto-scroller very quickly. Theoretically, we could also skip this auto-scroller. It's way too hard and way too slow, because you can see this whole wide open area doesn't really lend itself to precision platforming. You have to go on like the sides here, those little side platforms, and build up energy by destroying things. It's really annoying. We don't like it. Theoretically, though, it is possible. It's just not that fast. Anyways, we have about 15-ish seconds left before the end of the stage. If you want to fit in another quick message if you haven't.
Yes, I just want to remind everyone of our open incentives. We have that bid war incentive for Saw the Game, Freedom Ending versus Truth Ending bid war. So depending on which ending you would like to see, if you put freedom or truth in your donation message, you can put your donation towards that ending.
I'm just saying,
that
Spark is
this afternoon.
Spark is a freedom fighter. There's a reason they're called freedom medals. I'm just saying, I'm biased a little bit. Granted, Saw is a very different franchise. Maybe they mean something completely different. It's fine, don't worry about it. Next
Don't
up
think about it too hard.
I hate thinking. You're 2 steps ahead of me. I like this game because it goes way too fast for me to actually think. Anyways, on to our next stage here. This is District 79. This stage is actually also pretty viable as a beginner stage because it's really actually not that difficult. The reason we don't do it is because it's a little bit too slow. especially with the 1.2 strats that we can't, or the 1.2 strats that we do. Unfortunately, in 1.1, there is a way to skip this stage. It's just very long and complicated and kind of slow, especially for a new game. It's complicated. In 1.1 all stages... No, I got trapped. Okay, that's fine. We got a good checkpoint. In 1.1 all stages runs, the strat here is to just go out of bounds with Spark. And unfortunately, we can't do that anymore. But we can still avoid all the mandatory fight sequences. The first one we avoided was nice. We went fast enough through that one to skip it. Very convenient. The first one in that stage, we literally just do a Jester Swipe through a wall. Jester Swipe, if you have forgotten, is an ability that lets us basically swipe over to a bunch of bits, if they're loose bits, and we can swipe across them. It speeds us up quite a lot. But we can do that through walls. The game doesn't check for collision between us, so we literally just teleport to the other side of a wall. It's really funny. Next up here is Endless Call. We don't do this stage for reasons that are kind of hard to explain. The short of it is that the strat I'm going to go for and hopefully hit is very inconsistent and difficult to do with the route that we, the bit routing that we do in this in any percent. The trick we're about to do is going to be very strange. What we're going to do is parry this little guy, and then go out of bounds. And hopefully we have the distance in order to come all the way to the end. Okay, we don't. That's unfortunate. I should have played it safe there. We're gonna restart it because I wanna show you this strat. It's really cool. So yeah, what we did there is called a float flip. By parrying very specific enemies, particularly ones that deal damage when you are dashing into them, the float's dash is very weird in this game. Instead of dashing to it naturally with a little smooth course, what happens is that she immediately teleports to the enemy. So if we dash into this enemy, if we homing attack into this enemy, it will go through this wall and literally just, like, bring us through with it. It's really strange. Unfortunately here we still don't have the distance we needed. There is a way to get all the way to the end of the stage with that strat. I can't figure it out for the life of me. I do exactly what the world record does and it just doesn't work. So it's fine. We'll do a slower version of the strat here instead of restarting again. Going into this tunnel here. This stage is really long without that strat, and it just doesn't work out that we can make the jump if we do it in full game runs. Theoretically, we could change up our routing some, but none of us have really put in the effort to see if that'd be any faster, so it's still not in the any percent route. Plus, if you miss the strat, it's really punishing. Like, I'm losing like 20 seconds all because I didn't hit the strat. It's great. At the ending of the stage here, we're gonna come around this little platform because, again, mandatory fight. Woo! Thankfully, we can skip it by going around it. Not a biggie. But that is the only stage where that tech with float is actually applicable. It is useless otherwise. It's great. This game has a lot of just weird little techniques that are only applicable on 1 or 2 stages. Next up is Balloon Fiesta. I don't know who put all these balloons here, but they're very useful because what we're going to do is not you. I wanted to exhaust and magnet dash off you and miss our jump. Cool. We're gonna restart the stage. All right. Let's take it from the top. You guys didn't see that. See what exactly? So we're gonna exhaust and magnet dash over to. Thank you. Over to this little bubble. We're gonna, you know what? We're gonna hop into this little air balloon because we missed our jump. That's fine. and off that little wall, and boom. We do a hyper dash off of the balloon there. We're gonna want to build up some energy here since we slowed down a little bit to do a hyper dash off you. That will bring us through 2 mandatory fight sequences, completely skipping it. It is really fast if you do it well. The big problem with this stage and why it's not in the any percent route is that it's locked behind Endless Hall, and so we have to do both of them in order to do one of them. It's really unfortunate. But Balloon Fiesta is a really cool stage. I actually just yesterday got the world record on that stage, which was super fun to grind for.
GG.
That stage is just so fun. Thank you. It's so cool. I love that stage. Alright. This stage is going to be a lot of walking, because what we just did is called a Spark Clip. Also called a Reaper Clip, depending on the character you're doing it. We have weird naming conventions, don't worry about it. Reaper and Spark Clips abuse a oversight with Spark and Reaper's dash. So what happens is that they are invulnerable for a portion of their dash, which allows us to just go through walls if we dash at the right time. Dash at the right distance and time, rather. So we can use that to get out of bounds on this stage. Otherwise, it's a huge open circuit of a lot of different road obstacles. It's very long, very convoluted. We go back inbounds there to pick up the energy bubble there, which gives us a bit of extra energy. And this is the last stage. When we hit the goal in this stage, that will be when time is called. And hopefully, we will have secured a new world record for this category. We were ahead of the run that I did yesterday.
Are you serious? This is very exciting. We could be witnessing a world record, chat.
So, time coming up when we hit the little goal here, time. And
time. Okay, tell us. We gotta know.
So, this is where things get complicated. That isn't a world record for all levels as a collective. But that is a world record for 1.2, which I'm gonna say that's a world record because the categories are split depending on version because there are different strats. Anyways.
Hey, it counts. That counts in my books.
It counts. So that was all of the levels in Spark 3. Don't look at this one. Don't worry about it. We're gonna play this one while I do my shoutouts and then we can transition out. I just want to give a big shout out to, of course, the Spark community. You guys rock. I love you all so much. I love showing off this game, so big thank you to Osmorn, to shovelclaws, and of course to Gabby herself. Thank you all for having me. I love this game. I love this community. So I appreciate it. Running this game is always a treat, and I really enjoy it. Otherwise, that's it for me. You can find me everywhere as shovelclaws. You can just look around. I'm on most websites. If you search up the username shovelclaws, you're gonna find me. No one takes my username. It's great. I love it.
Love it.
Otherwise, I'm mainly on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Go look for me there. Shovelclaws on all 3. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching Spark 3. I love this game so much. I love running this for any events. Big thank you to the organizers for not only inviting me, but for putting this whole thing on. Mutual aid is a cause that is very important. We have to support each other through thick and thin, and that means a lot to me that we put this on to support someone in this community. It's always great to see. I always love seeing it. Otherwise, thank you all for the donations. Thank you all for watching. Keep them coming in. This, again, is a super important cause. Mutual aid is so cool. Otherwise, that was Spark 3. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the marathon. I know I've been enjoying it so far. There are a lot of great runs coming up that I'm sure will be super fun. Otherwise, y'all have a nice rest of your day, and take care of yourselves. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for that amazing run. New world record 1.2, chat. That's awesome. Everyone, can we give a big round of virtual applause for Shovelclaws and its plushy mascot Spark. I want to see some GGs in chat. I want to see your emotes celebrating that run. It was awesome. And for those of you who are just joining in, I just want you all to know that we are all here this weekend to support Blackheart's Boston Fund. Blackheart's Boston Fund is a mutual aid fundraiser organized to help out a wonderful friend of the Frame Fatales, Stardew Valley, and the overall speedrunning community, Blackheart Wings, also known as Gabby. She is currently going through a major life change and is crowdsourcing funds in order to afford her move to Boston. Your support will go towards travel, housing, and other basic necessities. We have all come together to create this event for her, and with your donations, we can help change Gabby's life and make sure that she can move safely to live the life she wants to live. Please type !donate in chat for the link to donate. And chat, that is it for me this afternoon. Thank you all so very much for having me. I also want you to know a couple more things before I leave. Make sure to type !schedule so you can see what you can look forward to this weekend. In addition to supporting Gabby, you can also type !incentives in chat to see all the extra fun you can add to the event. A reminder, we have that Saw the Game Freedom Ending versus Truth Ending bid war open. And we also have that secret, well, no longer secret, not so secret, any percent, no major glitches, some minor glitches, Metroid Dread run by Root Origin if we make $2,500 by the end of today. And I can say again, I personally have hosted that run before, and it's absolutely amazing. You're going to want to get your donations in to see that run. But for now, we're going to take a quick break while we transition to the next host and set up the next run. So grab a drink, have a stretch, do what you gotta do, and stay tuned for more marathon action in support of Blackheart's Boston Fund, including Mega Man Base, which is coming up next. So thank you all, enjoy the rest of the marathon, take care, and see you all soon.